What's going on, everybody? It's Ndukauba, and today I'm here with an opinionated discussion topic for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Now, before I actually get into it, just note that I did just say that this is an opinionated discussion topic for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, which means that this topic is based on my personal thoughts. So don't take this as it is confirmed. This is just my own opinion on a certain topic. And throughout the video, I will actually provide an example to defend my opinion. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So today's topic is going to be whether or not I personally believe that certain quote-unquote tactics that were present in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1 will make it into Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Now, by quote-unquote tactics, I'm talking about things such as Kamehameha canceling and other tactics along those lines. Tactics that were discovered through tinkering with the game, such as like being in the lab and trying to figure out some sort of way to gain an edge in battle. Now, I personally believe that it will not return in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Now, before I even continue, let me just get this out of the way. I have no personal problem with any of those tactics. I understand why people utilize them. They're useful, they're viable, and it helps you gain an edge in battle. It can potentially save you from a very powerful opponent. You can apply pressure, etc., etc. I understand. I utilize some of these tactics. Not on screen, because on screen, I'm just trying to have fun. But off screen, I do utilize these from time to time. I understand, and I would completely understand why some people would be frustrated if these tactics were taken out in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. I get it. However, from a development standpoint, they were never meant to be in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1. They were not purposefully implemented into the game. That is a sign of a mistake, which makes sense if it got taken out in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. So now I'm going to give you guys an example of a certain game that had a certain similar circumstance to Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1 and having certain tactics that were never meant to be in the game, regardless of how viable they are. Now, the game I'm going to refer to is Super Smash Bros. Melee, and such tactics like wave dashing, L canceling, etc., etc. Those tactics were never meant to be in Super Smash Bros. Melee, because we all know that Melee is an incomplete game. The game was not truly completed because it was rushed. And therefore, through years of playing the game and actually being in the lab and practicing, people found out these tactics. They were not purposefully implemented into the game. They were discovered. They were never originally intended to be in the game. And the prime example of that is because in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, a majority of those tactics were taken out. And even in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, those tactics are still not in the game. Because at the end of the day, Masahiro Sakurai wanted Super Smash Bros. To be just a party game. He doesn't want it to be a competitive game, which is why he took out those tactics and even slowed down the game compared to Melee. And again, I understand people utilizing these tactics because they are viable. I get that, because wave dashing is one of the most used tactics in the entire game of Melee. And then of course I had mentioned L canceling as well, and there's a crapload of other tactics within the game that were never originally supposed to be implemented but are widely used because they are useful. I get it. However, again, they were never originally supposed to be in the game. Now granted, Super Smash Bros. Melee came out in the GameCube era, and within that era, the internet really wasn't a prominent thing. It was still growing. Therefore, we weren't really able to get patches to have those tactics taken out of the game. Their solution to that was a sequel, Brawl, which did take all those tactics out. And of course, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, but that's a different story because that came out in the era of patches and all that stuff. So we're not gonna get into that. But yes, it came out in an era where they cannot patch that stuff out of the game. What you bought was what you get. However, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1 is not in that same case. It came out for PS3 and 360, as well as PS4, Xbox One, and PC. It is within the era where a patch could easily take the Kamehameha cancel and other tactics along those lines out of the game. However, and this is my personal opinion, but Kamehameha canceling is a very niche thing. because the competitive scene within Dragon Ball Xenoverse is a very niche thing. It's not that big because a majority of people who play Dragon Ball Xenoverse do not play the game as competitively as others. Therefore, within the certain group that know of the Kamehameha cancel, of course it's not going to get into the eyes or ears of Namco Bandai that easily, because of the fact that the group of people who utilize the tactic, as well as the people who know of the tactic, is extremely small, which is more than likely the reason why it's still in Xenoverse 1. However, at this time, I'm fairly certain that they've already discovered the fact that, oh, certain tactics are in the game that were not supposed to be implemented, and then they more than likely will patch them out. That is my personal opinion. Whether or not it'll actually happen is a different story. But again, those type of tactics are actual mistakes, and it wouldn't make sense for developers to keep mistakes within a game regardless of how viable it is. Now again, once again for emphasis, because I know people are still going to watch this video and claim that I didn't try to cover my bases. I understand the viability of all these tactics that were found. I would understand why people would get frustrated if it was taken out in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. However, realize that on a developer standpoint, that was a mistake. It was never meant to be in the game, which is why I personally believe that in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, those tactics are going to get taken out. Granted, with a new game, there are more than likely going to be other tactics that will get discovered that might potentially replace those tactics. That's completely possible. It is. But as far as the tactics that were in Xenoverse 1, if they have found out about them, if they have discovered them, they're more than likely going to patch those out within the development phase or in a later patch down the road. But that is just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But nonetheless, that is the end of this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, if you did, please like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Ndukauba. And for you mobile users, if you want to stay updated for all the videos I upload, don't forget to ring my bell. And as always, thanks for watching. See you guys later.